thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you on. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to be here, Kimberly. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yes, it is such a joy to have you. I am definitely fangirling right now because I have been listening to you all over Clubhouse, and gosh, you are just such a strength. You're a source of light, and you are a powerhouse. Truly you are. And I'm just so happy to share you with my audience and have you on and share all of your wisdom. So would you mind just giving us a quick overview of what exactly you're doing in your business? And from there, I'd love to kind of go way back and really understand kind of how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Well, I own a digital marketing agency. We are focusing on social growth. Basically, we have many tools that we develop that creates a lot of growth for followers, of engagement, of different things inside the social media platforms. We also build strategies. We execute the strategies. So we will build the look and feel of the account. We create, the message that they want to deliver. When we upload the content, we create the content, we create the engagement. So we do all of that on the social media aspect. And we also build websites, we do newsletter blasts, and we do everything around the digital platforms. The main thing is that we have promotion tools on Instagram and LinkedIn that creates endless exposure. And we have great tools for in an Instagram that creates growth and exposure for clients and for potential clients. So that's what we do in our company in Social digital marketing agency. And we also do a lot of pro bono work for nonprofit organizations just to help out. Yeah, that's the main thing. I do a bunch of stuff, but this is my main focus is my business.
Wow. That is so inspiring. In addition to having your big company, your huge social media, digital marketing company, you are a mom. Is that right?
Yes, that's my first job. Second one is
Yes.
that's my first boss. I have a boss and she makes the rules.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I got two bosses. Yeah.
I know. It's amazing how 25 years old like you have already two. It's like unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, I know. And it really is the most exciting and most important thing. And I'm so glad that you're able to bring the perspective of being a mom and an entrepreneur into this conversation. I definitely have some questions around that, especially how you're going to be bringing up your daughter that I'm going to save for a little bit later. But I just am super excited to get to share that, here you have this powerful and successful female entrepreneur that is a boss and a mom. And it's a big deal, to have those titles. So can you maybe give us a little bit of your background and kind of your story? Like, where did this business all begin for you, Tal?
Well, I have been, it all started many years ago. I have been doing digital marketing since 2006. Basically, before Instagram was exist, Clubhouse, no one even dreamt about. And there was Facebook at the time, just the beginning of it. There was MySpace, if you remember MySpace.
Oh, yes.
I was walking this one at the time. And basically my journey started when I finished my serving as a lieutenant in the Israeli army. I was lieutenant for 3 years, and then I was teaching the reserve army, the reserve soldiers, to work with communication tools. I had a team of teachers or trainers that were training the soldiers how to use it during the war. So that's what we were doing. And basically, when I finished my serving the army, I left and I moved to New York and I started my first company, which was plumbing and constructions at the time. And I always seek and looked for communication opportunities to communicate with my family that was far away from me. There was an ICQ at the time and all kind of, old contacting platforms that I used. And I was always in a search for this. And when I did my plumbing and constructions company, I started with, creating a logo and creating a brand for it. And I created flyers and I handed flyers to people on the street. So I did a lot of marketing before I even knew what it means, when I was 21 in New York. And a few years later, around 2 years later, I lived in New York for 3 years. And during these 2 years, I had this company which didn't succeed. Obviously, I have no idea in plumbing and constructions. And I was just learning my way on marketing. But that was amazing for me because it was my first lessons and my first steps in the marketing world before the digital came. And from there, I traveled in India for a while, and then I basically met someone on MySpace that he had a lot of pictures of Caribbean islands, like amazing beaches. And he approached me one day and he told me, "Would you like to have a cup of tea one day?" And I never really replied to those kind of messages, but I saw beautiful beaches and I am, 23 years old. I'm replying to him and I'm like, "Oh, hi. Sure, why not? Maybe one day." And then we started to have a conversation. And after like 3 or 4 days only, we hopped on a Skype call together. It was a French guy. He was older than me in 15 years. He lived on this island and he didn't have pictures of him, just the island. I didn't care about him. I cared about this magical island. I really wanted to explore everything. I was this young, curious, human being. And we spoke on Skype. I barely saw him because Skype was like blurry. It was the beginning of Skype age. And I told him, "Listen, man, I don't know who you are. I don't know where is the island you live on, Anguilla, Anguilla, Angula, whatever the name is, but I'm coming." And he said, "Really? Whoa, why not? You have an extra room. You can stay in an extra room." I thought to myself, "I don't care about your room. I'm coming to sleep on the beach, but I just want to make sure there's someone there I can, land on." And I packed a suitcase and I called my sister and I told her, "Listen, I'm going to this island. The name is Anguilla. It's near Saint Martin and it's not even on the map. In Israel, it wasn't on the map. It was like, I put it on the map in Israel on this travel format. And I flew. I told her, "Listen, I'm going to this island to meet this guy who I don't care about. I'm just going with a backpack and I might sleep on the beach with pleasure and spend some time and come back. But if I'm not calling you in 3 days, then tell mom where I am, please. And also call the police. I think it's 100 and send them to this island. Thank you." And I took a flight and I flew to Anguilla, to this small island. And I have in the airport, the size of a coffee shop, tiny place. There was a French guy, tall, blonde, whatever. I'm like, "That's the French guy. So long story short, we fell in love. We got married on the island and I moved to live there. And we started a business together of digital marketing business, kind of a PR online at the time it was called, because no one knew what's digital marketing. There was nothing exist. Like, there was no WordPress, no Wix, no editors, no nothing. And I learned everything by myself. I learned coding, I learned designing. I was sitting on the computer and learning all that while we built two businesses. One of them, we became kite surfing equipment dealers. So we built a website around kite surfing because we did a lot of kite surfing on the island together. We were surfing every day. And I created this website that became super successful because we went into different forums and wrote, about our adventures. We uploaded pictures and stories from which are traveling the world and talking about the equipment. And we became like a third party or like a middleman for equipment and wearing and suits for kite surfing. And we suddenly I had a lot of followers on MySpace. That MySpace was the big thing at the time. And more and more I came into to Facebook. I'm sorry, which just the groups started, and Twitter was very strong, and we uploaded some YouTube videos. And we became super popular, and the business grew, and we made a lot of money from just being a middleman, like affiliate programs on our website for kite surfing equipment. And that's how I realized the power of the internet. And that's when I started like my real digital knowledge and learning and understanding more and more. And I just learned by myself everything from reading and experiencing, and I helped other people to build their websites from the coding. There was no Wix or WordPress, no editor. Everything by coding, uploading my own picture by myself, putting meta taggings and everything. And after 3 years on the Caribbean island, we moved to Florida, to Delaware Beach, where we lived for 2 more years. Long story short, I had a family tragic. My mother got cancer in 2009, and I left everything behind and I moved to live with her in Haifa in Israel because she was by herself there. So my relationship kind of ended there. It not didn't end. It was very like we. It was bad. Also, the business, stopped because I couldn't be there, and my husband kept taking care of it. But went through this crisis, and my mother passed away after a few months that I took care of her, and then I just restarted from scratch in Israel. So I lost my mom, I lost my husband, I lost my business, and I lost everything in 1 month or more or less. I mean, she died after a few months, but like boom, 1 month, I lost like everything. We decided we break up, and my mom just passed away, and there was no place for me to move back or to Florida. And I stayed in Israel. And then I started to, instead of grieving, I started to build my new Tal, the new me, growing my new business, my sociality, and I established the first college in Israel for social media in 2011, which was a big hit in Israel because no one understood what is social media at the time. And I already created like a college that is going to give a lot of information about it, and it was pretty successful. And since then, I sold it after 2 years, and since then I've been investing in the different startups, and I'm doing lectures and teaching and consulting, and sociality is doing a lot of strategic activities for clients, etc. Yeah, and then I moved to LA 5 years ago. I'm sorry, and met my husband and got married at Burning Man. Met my current husband, had a baby, and that's it. So all is good. Good ending so far.
Wow. Gosh, thank you for sharing that. I mean, you have true, like, we could take one small piece of your story and go so deep and literally fill up the whole time because
Yeah.
you know what it is? You've done so much, and I see that you're fearless, and there's just so much to you. Like, all of that story, it really shows the essence of who you are in so many ways. And I guess one question that I have for you, Tal, is in those moments where your heart is obviously broken, you went through this traumatic event, losing your mom, caring for her and losing for her, and then, of course, with the business and your husband and just so much all at once. I know that for many folks listening, they probably are struggling, right? There's so many people out there really struggling to find themselves. Maybe their businesses have been devastated from, say, COVID, or their relationships, or they're just down and out. And I guess, what would you say to those people? Like, what is your advice? How did you pick up the pieces in the worst moments? Like, what do you say to yourself to pick yourself back up and keep going?
I think I've had a lot of times like this in life, when I lost a business in 2003, the constructions company, so I lost it and I got up, on my legs and removed the dust from my knees, and then fell again, and then get up and remove the dust from my knees and kept on walking and fell again. The college was sold, and then after that I had something with terrible partners, and I fell again and I got up again. And so always keep on going. There are going to be a lot of failures, or a lot of falls, a lot of falling on the face and slaps on the face during life. Some of them called COVID, some of them you can name them, bad partners, or some of them you can name it lack of knowledge, or wherever you wrap it with. That we all going to have those moments, and failures are not failures for me. So there are just lessons. So from everything that I've been through, I've just taken the lessons. And I know it's like a cliche, but it's so true, to really focus on, okay, that's the situation right now. What am I going to do next? Not like, oh, why did it happen to me? That's a terrible situation. I'm so stuck. I'm this and this. But to focus on what's next, to look back on what were the mistakes, not where I am, or not like what was bad and why it happened, but what can I take from it, and then implement it on your next step. I think my journey has so many chapters in my life, and I think I've changed so many times through it. I've from an island girl that flies, I became, serious person, or at least sometimes I'm serious. But really, at the end of the day, my journey has a lot of ups and downs, and I just tend to enjoy all of them, the ups and the downs, and not I don't mean enjoy, but I mean to say take them in proportions. Okay, So always put in front of me what's most important for me, my health, my success, or my babies, or to have food on the table. So what do I do now to make that happen? So tomorrow I will have the food on my table, and a roof to my head, and health, and everything that I'm aiming to. So every morning I wake up like I'm a beast. I'm ready to eat the day. I'm ready to attack. Every morning I'm coming running to the computer, because there are new opportunities, new things. Every day brings me new ideas. New Every day is as a white plain page, and how you feel it, it's all yours. It's all in your hands. How you feel it, what do you put inside this page of this chapter? So, and also to understand that I have been changed so much, and life is changing so much, and opportunities are changing so much. So at the end of the day, you really have to try to understand how you do some hustling too. It's all good to do, some side income, and not to trust only on your workplace or only on your own business. So I have my business, but I also do real estate for many years. And I also invested in coins, and I do a lot of other things. I mean, I'm on board of some companies, so I have, these kind of opportunities, and always seek for other side hustler. I believe in that. Focus on what you do. Yeah. I don't say like start to do a lot of things, but create something that you're passionate about and brings you income. And sometimes not to be dependent on one revenue stream is a very smart thing to do.
I love that. I see you as being not afraid to take chances, and someone that chooses to see the world as a place of opportunity. And it seems like you also follow your gut, and you don't question yourself. Like, it sounds like you move towards your passion, and you just seem like you're very in tune with yourself. Like, you're the type of person I feel like you're a very self-confident woman. And I've heard you on Clubhouse speak. And when Tal comes into the room, first of all, you see this beautiful picture. For those of you that haven't seen her, we'll link all her stuff in the show notes so you can go stalk her. But you see this beautiful woman, and then you hear her come on, and she's unapologetically opinionated, adding value, knowledgeable. And I see so many women, Tal, that they just don't have the voice. They don't have the confidence. And they will tell me, I have clients that will tell me, like, I've lost my voice in becoming a mom. They're really struggling with that self-confidence. And, it breaks my heart, frankly. And so it's super important that part of my mission is to connect with aspiring females like yourself, to show people the art of the possible. So I guess maybe where do you think that confidence comes from, and how are you going to raise your daughter to be confident like you are?
First of all, I think confidence comes with a lot of experience. I've been through so much that I feel, well, to be honest, I was born confident person. I'm always very complete, but I know it's an issue for a lot of women. And I think the more you understand how much you are powerful and how much your voice is matter, the more you will feel confidence. Now I know it's very hard to I know it's not an easy thing to achieve. I mean, everyone has their own, I also have my fears and my doubts in myself. And, there are things I'm better and the things I'm less good at. And that's okay. And that's legit. And that makes sense. But I think at the end of the day, always remember that whatever you think, wherever you look around and you think someone else is probably better than you, he thinks the same about you, or he thinks the same about someone else. There's always, everyone looks in someone else, everyone, including everyone, is looking on someone else and thinks, oh, he got more than me, X or Y, or he gets more than me in something, more pretty, more strong, more followers, more confidence, but we all have our downsides. Everyone is human, we're all the same. And at the end of the day, if you are not looking around, then you're going to be blooming much more. And you have to surround yourself with people who make you bloom, not people that, take you down, or not people that, will shut your voice down, and not people that will lower your confidence. So it also depends on who is around you. That's very important. I always keep my surrounding and my people around me supportive, and I have a supporting gang, which is my husband and some friends. And I don't not that I need support, but we all need support at some point. We all need a hug. We all need a friend. We all need someone to consult. And I truly believe that if you have someone that is too jealous or too, not for your benefit, that I would, kind of get rid of him, or I would, change him. And always believe in yourself. Self belief, it's the most important thing that a human being can have. That's like the most attractive thing. It's the best thing you can be anything you want when you believe in yourself, and you don't care what others thinking, because truly they don't really care about you. Whoever you think that that you care about what he thinks, he doesn't care about you. Seriously, everyone is cares only about himself and maybe some of his surrounding, but he didn't no one sometimes I see people that think, oh, I shouldn't upload this because some people are going to think that I'm this and this. Who cares about them? They're not going to think about you anything because you're not interesting them. Seriously, that you're not. So just no fear. Just go with the flow. Just jump in the water. Before you know how to swim, start to do this with your hands and learn to swim with time with while you're doing it, and it's going to be fine.
I love it. It sounds like a lot of your self-confidence comes from taking action. For anyone out there that's feeling stuck, it's like we got to get unstuck. And how do you get unstuck? By doing. Start
Yeah,
doing, even if
yeah.
you do it bad.
You're so right, Kimberly.
Yeah. So I love that. It's just interesting to me as I hear you talk, you've done all these things, you've taken risks, you've leaned into opportunities, you're trying all different things, and you are fearless when you're
You too,
doing it.
girl.
And
You too.
yeah,
You
and
too.
that's right there. Even if you fall flat on your face, like at least you learned, like you said, like you learned something. I just think it's super important for people to really take action. When you have a dream, if you don't know how to act on it, you need to break it up into bite-sized pieces. I always teach people that. And what do you mean by that? Whatever is the next best step, whatever makes sense that you can do, like a quick win is how you start building your momentum and your confidence. Gosh, you're just such a big success. And so I want to ask you a little bit about your business, because I definitely don't want to gloss over. I mean, you are a serious businesswoman. You really genuinely are. And again, such an inspiration. So can you talk to us a little bit about, see, your team? Where are they geographically, and how do you run a team that's global? How do you keep
Hmm.
them together? How do you inspire? Give us some leadership tips.
Okay, well, I have a team of 10 people right now, and other 6 suppliers that works with us permanently. So it's kind of 16 people that I manage. And what they do, everyone has their own, unique in him. And when I pick my team, I I feel like it's an orchestra, you say, orchestra, and everyone is an instrument, and everyone has his own different, everyone is a different instrument, and everyone has his own unique sounds. And when they're playing together, they create beautiful music to the ears. So I would definitely always pick someone who is good, better than me in certain things, so I can learn from my team while they're learning from me or from each other. My team sits in Israel, New York, LA, London, Houston, and Malta. And we're having every Monday, a team meeting, and it's always like a pajama party online, a virtual pajamas party. And I have a team for many years that I never even met, so I don't know how high they are, or what shoes they like to wear, because I haven't met them. But I see them every day on Zoom and calls and everything. And the way to keep them really engaged is really create an environment that first of all, they're learning a lot, they're enjoying what they do. We're always having fun. My team are like my besties. I love them so much. I have a lot of women on my team. We have also men, but most of them are women, because I'm always happy to empower women around me and bring them, opportunities. So what I do, I usually bring them a lot of freedom in what they do, so they can make their own decisions, and I let them run the show. So I'm only like overviewing, and I'm like, directing here and there, but I let them run the show. And of course I have a lot of things, some things that I give as instructions of what I want to see and I want to be done, but I let them do it. And my clients are super happy with them. everyone is like a family, you know, we're all like a one big family. And I also bring them a lot of, you know, courses and occasional time together. So we have like once a month, someone's coming to teaching them something new about digital or about strategy or about anything that is related to business. And so they, you know, we keep working together as a team, and we went through a lot of things with this COVID. You know, we lost clients in dealing with, you know, their own corona things in their families, and you know, the kids are not at school, so they had to work from home and all kind of stuff. So but we're I am an understanding boss, you know, so I you know, I hear them, I feel them, so I understand them, they understand me. We know that we have a mission to create, and we all do it for the, you know, as the best as we can. Sorry for
Wow.
my English.
You hit on so much there too that I think is super important to highlight, like from a leadership perspective, because, you make it sound so easy, but so much of what you're saying, I mean, I have seen a lot of people struggle with a lot of the things you just said. So one thing is being able to lead a team of 10 to 16 people globally in a pandemic remotely, and to make that orchestra come together is a skill. It's a real skill, and I don't think a lot of people have that natural ability. So I just want to cover some of those skills. So the fact that you are able to recognize and also let your team see that, look, you're all here, but there's none of this competition with our team. We're all one team, we're one orchestra, and you're all here playing your unique sound, as you said, is just such a beautiful way to say it. And I feel like it really is important to say that, because sometimes when you're on a team, if your boss isn't really, you know, as a conductor, I'll say, isn't great at conducting, you can feel like you're running into each other, or you can feel like you're competing for attention or for, work or whatever the case may be. And I sense that you really make every single member of your team feel important, and you empower them. And so I think that's just one really, really key thing to highlight from a
Yeah,
leadership perspective.
I agree. I agree. I have personal conversations with them once a week, you know, to hear how they're doing, how is everything in the family, and talk about the clients, and, you know, to recap. And it's a lot of work, you know, to talk to each and every one of them, but it's important enough for me to make sure that they know that I am recognizing what they're doing, and that I'm here to listen, and I get to know them also through those conversations, because on the meeting groups conversation, I don't get to speak to each and every one of them individually. So it's really important to keep updated. We're not sitting in an office, so I can't just on the way ask them, how is your kid, or how is your mom, or whatever. So I do it on personal calls once a week. So it's a lot of work,
Wow.
but
Well, that's another really good takeaway, is to not only spend time with them one-on-one so that you can build that relationship, but also to make them feel like you have your pulse on, well, you do, you're keeping your pulse on their work without being the micromanager. So it's that
right.
again, it's a very delicate balance that you're striking, which is beautiful, which is, I'm here as your boss to kind of directionally, orchestrate things, make sure that you're on track and you know what it is needs to be done. But at the same time, I empower you. I trust you completely. And I am here to support you in case you do need that extra support. Like
Exactly.
that, I mean, this is like an MBA in leadership right now, that so many people, I'm telling you, I've been sitting on calls and coaching, and I mean, these are such big challenges that people have, especially as they're scaling their business. If they don't have that
Mhm.
experience, or they've never seen a good boss, this is what good looks like for folks listening. This is a great, great example of leadership. So let me ask you something a little bit more on the giving us advice, okay, on social media. So
Mhm.
how you have, I don't know, gosh, 6 figures of followers. What do you say to a small or medium-sized business owner that is trying to build and scale their business on social media? Should we be on multiple platforms? Should we be on two? Should we, what are some tips to make sure the algorithm likes us? Like, help us out here, Tal. Give us the lowdown.
Well, if you are on a certain, it doesn't matter which platform, if you are on a platform, it has to look and feel very professional. So if you're not planning to spend time on LinkedIn, just don't be there. It's better than have a lousy page with no explanation and no set up profile. Okay, so that's an example. If you're not on Instagram, don't be there. Don't have a profile with 2 followers and 3 pictures, and it looks not professional. So what I would suggest is definitely use as many platforms as possible if it fits you. It's where you need to understand who's your audience first, and then and then reaching through those social media platforms. But what I would do, I would first work on a strategy before you post anything, before you put up anything. You want to create a plan to understand what exactly that you want to deliver. So you need to understand who's your audience. You need to know exactly what their pain points, what are they going to take action on. You need to create kind of a spreadsheet for yourself to create a list of competitions and colleagues and aspirations, and understand what are the most successful posts that they had, what kind of hashtags they use there. Like, try to analyze and understand what's the big shots and the good people, the good accounts in your industry are doing that it works. Okay, and then try to create content calendar. So the content calendar will be built from content pillars. When you create a content pillar, it means that you're taking a category. So let's say someone is coaching, okay, like yourself, for example. So as a coach, you need to really create agreed a look and feel for the account that will be something that people will connect to, because people love to connect to people. So it will be something that people could resonate with, and you need to create those content pillars that will gonna make an organization in your content. So, for example, one content pillar could be all the posts and content that are going to talk about behind the scenes of what you're doing. So you can show yourself sitting with a client, you can show yourself writing notes or creating a new podcast, or everything that is about behind the scenes of your professional life, for example. Another content pillar could be all the content that is related to Q&A. So it could be videos with Q&A, it could be text with Q&A, it could be pictures, everything related to a Q&A, questions and answers that people might have, and you can bring it out there so people can get value from. And another content pillar could be, your own life, something that is personal, your family life, your what do you do in your free time, your children, if you want, of course, but anything that people can connect to you. So whatever you create, you have to remember that someone is coming to your account. They want to get connected to you in order to really stay and continue follow and take action and do likes and comments, etc. on your account. And when you're doing all this, when you have who's your audience, you understood the competition, you understand what you want to, what is your unique proposition in all this. You have to understand what you want to sell, so you put that out, and then you create those content pillars. Now you need to start to create the content. And when you have it organized, like that you have to do some question and answers posts, that you have to do some personal posts, etc. You just build it and you start to create content. And what I would do, I would use like an Excel sheet that is like a main content calendar and every column will be a date, and every on the right you will write kind of an Instagram post, Facebook post, LinkedIn post, and then implement this content inside this calendar. And then you can also create like one row that says special events. So it could be, a holiday, the women empowerment day, Christmas, or maybe it's related to your company. So you have a new launch of a new product or sale or something, that those are like special events that you add there. And then you implement content accordingly. So you know in advance what you're going to work with. So you're not like stressed out that you have to do it tomorrow or now, or, you build something for the long term. So we do it with every client of us. We actually build content calendars long term, like a month ahead every month. So we are not dealing with, on spot, let's upload this tomorrow or this tomorrow. We know in advance how it's going to look like and how it's going to feel. It is very important to understand this. There are a lot of apps and a lot of tools that you can use to plan ahead, like an app named Plan with double N at the end, like Preview, like Later, all kind of tools to create that. And then you start to upload your content. But if you're not planning to do it on one of the platforms, I can tell you that we have presence in LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, and newsletter and blogging. And we have a website with more than 400 articles in it, about digital marketing, and we've been doing content for a long time. And I have a team that helps me because it's a lot of work. So if you don't have the team in place, then I would invest on every platform. I would focus on one or two that are really strong for your niche, and we'll create the content that is related to them.
That is so helpful. Getting your content pillars straight for your niche, right? That's one huge one. That was such a great and helpful example, by the way. And then once you're really clear on what your content pillars are, really build your strategy around that and start with a content planner using Excel, which is, you just laid it out. The idea of using these different apps to automate and add process, I know that that's a huge one, just to take the pressure off, because look, we get busy. And to have to be, ad hoc managing things is tough.
I can also add to that, creating engagement. So this will be the first part, okay, of building the look and feel. Sorry for cutting you off. I want to add something to that. We have in our company promotion tools that enable growth of followers and engagement and everything. And what those tools create, it creates human behavior, and it goes and it creates human behavior on behalf of the account. And then it creates a huge exposure to the account on different targeted audience accounts. And I don't know how people do it without it today. Like how I know it is very hard to grow your Instagram account. And it takes a lot of time and effort and energies and thinking about posts and content and go and engage outside, etc. So our tool does it. Our tools doing it on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. They just know how to target the right audience, create engagement, and grow your exposure for the account. And it brings hundreds of new followers on each account, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. It could create comments and real ones, and it's so crucial because people are, anyway, it's so hard and it's so time consuming to deal with all these platforms. So those tools are really helping on creating an consistent growth without really working hard. So that's an important tools to use. It's the social lady tools. It's our tools.
Oh, it's your proprietary tools that you have built.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful. Right there, it's so great to know that we are in fact all missing. You do have some magic tools, and this is the value of hiring, a firm like this that can really take ownership and really drive your business. And it also helps us to demystify what's going on, for those of us that are maybe not at that scale yet. So that's great to know that you've built those tools. That's incredible.
Yeah, happy.
Is that how you manage your DMs? Like, I know for us, especially with Clubhouse going on, because Clubhouse does not yet have a direct message function. So if you're chatting with someone on Clubhouse, for those folks that don't know, the way that people get in touch with you is either Twitter or Instagram. So how do you manage all of your direct messages right now?
I don't. No, I'm joking. I actually have a team in place to help me with that too. Yeah, that will be my solution. But managing direct messages when you have a lot, it's a lot of work. So I would definitely put someone on there. There are many virtual assistants that can help with this. And they, even in Clubhouse, I got so many messages from virtual assistants to write me that they can help me with my direct message from the account because of Clubhouse. Like they spotted me and they saw that I am active, and they figured out that I have a lot of direct message. So they publish it to me. Anyway, so, virtual assistant or just an assistant or someone to help you manage it, it's a must.
Yes, I agree completely. That's good to hear from someone else too. I completely agree with that. So what do you think is, I think that this, with Clubhouse coming on, I do want to talk to you a little bit about the trends, because from my perspective, I see that Clubhouse has pushed the envelope, not only because, okay, yes, it's an audio app, but this idea of having live interaction is making me feel like the entire landscape of social media is changing, in the sense of people no longer want to sit back and passively engage in like looking at your pretty pictures, right? Like it's no longer this passive thing. And I know that Facebook groups have some interaction, right? But what do you see some of the big trends coming? Like, is it that we should be doing more video and getting in front of the camera on, say, our Instagram? Like, what do you think Clubhouse is doing? And what are some of the things we should be doing as business owners to embrace the changes that you see?
I think that Clubhouse changed a lot of the rules because until today, we could just go and scroll on TikTok for hours and get nothing from it, gain nothing from it. And we could do the same with Facebook or with Instagram and just scroll around, see pictures, see videos. But at the end of the day, from Clubhouse, there's no escape. You have to be there and you have to personally manage it and talk. I cannot really put my assistant or someone from my team to do that for me, which I can do on other platforms. And it's a lot of time consuming, but saying that at the same time, it's a lot of learning. So I've been not only participating and bringing value, but I've also been learning a lot from speaking to other people and, from listening, from having a conversation over there, from just observing from the side on things that are going on there. It's a whole new world, I think. And, but it has to bring also time management at the same time, because you might lose hours and hours and memory as I did, just lost my memory when I just spending so much hours on Clubhouse. And I know it's an amazing tool for, for really bringing you on stage and talk. We're somewhere, sometimes in different places, it's harder for you to get, audience and get people to hear you. And this is a great platform for that. So as an entrepreneur, I would definitely advise to manage your time properly and make sure you dedicate to this few hours a day, not more. And I think I'm talking to myself here, convincing myself to do that before my husband is going to kick me out of the house for always being on Clubhouse. But it is an important tool. I think it has to be added to the 2021 or 2022 strategy for every company or every entrepreneur to be part of it. But of course, to put limits to how much you are giving or taking. And so as an entrepreneur, you have to really invest your time in what really benefits you and what's bring you an ROI, and not wasting your time, for example, to create a lot of TikTok videos if they're not being viral or they're not interesting anyone. And then you're pretty much wasting your time. I know that I have made a lot of TikTok videos, and at some point I just stopped because I have some following there and I had some posts that went viral, but it didn't bring me much as a return. So I'm not investing there my time anymore, even though it's an amazing platform to invest your time. But still, I would recommend to invest your time in things that are returning to you, and always do time management. Always check where you're wasting your time on, and is it really benefit for you or not?
Yes, I completely agree. And where do you think Facebook groups fits into that? Do you think it's still useful?
Totally.
Really?
Facebook groups, yes. I think Facebook groups are the place where you can bring people from any platform to one space. There's no like another app that enables you groups like this that you can create by a niche or by a subject. Even from Clubhouse, a lot of times we bring to our groups. We have a community on Facebook, and it's super good and super helpful for everyone who is involved, and super successful, like a lot of conversations and stuff. And people are learning a lot from groups, which they cannot learn on Instagram or on Clubhouse or TikTok. There are no groups function, and groups are very important because they create community and they bring you value exactly for what you want to learn about. So that would be my opinion about it.
That's very helpful. This is, I mean, again, I feel like we're getting some kind of masters in social media and entrepreneurship, digital marketing from you. So I know that you are busy woman. And I just wanted to thank you so much for joining me today. You are truly a star. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me here.
Thank you.
All right, that is it for today. Now, as you know, some of our best conversations actually happen after the show. So I want you to find me on Instagram at Kimberly Lovey and let me know your thoughts about today's show. You can screenshot this episode and let us know what your biggest takeaway was and tag me at Kimberly Lovey and we can share it on our stories. I will see you again, same time, same place next week.